Hello and welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. You know what the title of the video is, so there is no need for me to explain the title of the video and why you clicked on it. But I just wanted to start by saying what inspired this video. So I had a cup of coffee with one of my dear colleagues who is also working with a big choir. And we cooperate a lot in the choir field, but it is a known fact that we're very different when it comes to a lot of ways of thinking about choirs. So we're talking about how it's going, and she says, "How did your auditions go?" And I say, "They went really well. I have amazing new singers. I'm so happy." And she asked, "How many did you get at the auditions?" And I said, "Well, 14. And she was like, "Oh my God, that's so little. We took 60 new singers during the auditions." And I was like, "You have the capacity of 60 new singers in that large of a choir?" And she said, "Yeah, but we always take around 50, 60 singers because only 10 of them in average stay during the few months and for the rest of the season." And she asked me, "How many singers stay in your choir?" And I said, "Well, out of 14, all of them. I have 14 new singers and they have been in the choir for the past 2 months. And I'm pretty sure they will be staying for the upcoming seasons for years because that was always the way with these auditions." So the title of the video is how to get more choir members. But what's the point of getting them if they do not stay in the choir? This is why I'm doing this video, and just to say, I don't think it's going to be a typical one. I want to shift your perspective a little bit because if you're not working with choirs and you're just starting out, maybe your views are very strict and you only do and see what other people tell you, including me, but I'm a virtual person for you, so maybe you will hear something new in this video. How to get more choir members? I don't know why this earring keeps moving. The logical answer, the first answer would be set an audition. There's actually a whole playlist about choir auditions. In a few videos I touched upon this topic, so I'll bring it here. But let's talk about auditions first. So you want to get more choir members, you have to fill in the gaps or make the choir larger. Before doing an audition, I want you to really think about what your choir is and what you want your choir to become. Because often I hear only people going for new choir members without actually thinking what is going to happen with your choir when new members arrive. The sound of a choir is a thing which is very fluid. It changes every rehearsal, every performance. It changes every rehearsal because not everyone comes to every rehearsal. So adding new choir members to the already existing choir sound could be tricky. Beware, if you are a small choir and you take on a large amount of new singers, you're now getting a new choir. The group dynamic will become a different one. So be careful what you wish for. If you're doing an audition to get more choir members, and we'll take all of them, the more the merrier. Please be careful about that, because getting new choir members is not the same as getting many new choir members. Do you want to support your existing choir, or do you actually want to make a new choir? Before setting the audition, please think about who you want in the choir, who you are missing, what you want to do. Do you want to shift your repertoire or something? Do you want your choir sound to become larger, better? What is better for you? Also, when you're attracting new choir members, when you're setting the audition, you need to have a clear point of view. A clear point of view means that you already know what the identity of your choir is. Your choir has an identity. It has a biography, but it also has an identity. If the average age in your choir is 30 years old, that means that those people in the choir have a certain kind of life. They have a bit more money than a person who is in uni. They maybe have a family. Maybe they're looking to find a new partner. Let's be real, how many couples have met in choirs? Just saying. So you have to have the identity of your choir figured out. If you just want to attract as many new people as you possibly can, you could end up with a bigger choir, but with a complete circus when it comes to people in there. They have to have the common denominator, which for amateur choirs is not just singing in a choir. That is just me being really real about this. Okay, so you have this figured out and you're putting out auditions. What do you do while advertising your auditions to attract more people? My biggest advice would be ask your choir members who are already in the choir why they are in the choir. Because you, as a choir director, I don't think you can know what motivates your choir singers to be in the choir long term. I did a video here once upon a time about the profile of an amateur choir singer. And I really loved that video because I think it talks about things people don't often think about. Amateur singers have to have a great motivation, external and internal, to do something, to stay in a choir. Because there are a lot of different people out there. I have choir singers who are only there to have fun during the rehearsals, and they don't even show up for the performances. And then I have to talk to them and say, well, actually, you're obliged to go to the performance. And they say, but I don't want to perform. That's not something I like. What do you do with that kind of a singer? I mean, there are a lot of different motivations to be in a choir. So don't think that if you put out on the audition flyers or something, we are a gold award choir, we are a national prize winner, we are the biggest choir, we are the most popular choir, we've been on TV, we've been on, I don't know, festivals. I mean, that is very true and very important. I agree. But these things are actually, I think of them as the rational part of attracting somebody. You want to be in a good choir, but if you are too good of a choir, many people could think, I'm not good enough for that choir. So if you want to attract a lot of people, but you set out these very high conditions, it could backfire. If you really want only the best singers, you could do that. I mean, that's something that is completely legitimate. I mean, I'm not talking about the fact that you should settle for less than you want. But when you're talking about getting more choir members, this is something to think about. I mentioned my choir having a huge turnover during the past few seasons. And when I found myself in times of trouble, when I find myself in a situation that I really have to think about what motivates my choir members to stay, because the attendance and the dedication to my choir is huge, I ask them, what made you be so dedicated? You know, only 10% of them said anything about music. Most of them said, all of them actually said, but 90% of them only said something along these lines. I'm here for the people because of the atmosphere, the way I feel during the rehearsals, the thing we can achieve as a group, the fact that we are all at the same university, but nobody is talking about that university. So you can have all the awards, but I don't think people stay in your choir and come to your choir because they want the award. I think mainly they want to sing in a good atmosphere. When it comes to attracting somebody to go to the audition, when you get a new choir member who is an amateur and possibly has never been in a choir before, there is a huge chance that they don't actually know what they're in for. Possibly they do not realize they have to go to every rehearsal or most of the rehearsals. Maybe they do not realize that if they miss one rehearsal, they missed a lot of work. Maybe they don't realize that your concerts and performances are during the weekend, and those performances are in the evening, and they have a family. These are all things to think about. The most difficult choir to attain is a grown-up choir, working people, because they have so much on their plates. I really strongly disagree with the notion that many choir directors who I know have towards their singers, and that is, those singers should be lucky to be able to perform in my choir. I mean, good for you, but not for me. That's not something I agree with, because first of all, that puts you in a superior position. Just because you have more knowledge in something doesn't mean you're superior to them. You're superior in that knowledge, but not as a person. People have lives. I mean, amateur choirs are amateur choirs. They're not paid to be there. So you cannot be angry because somebody's life got in the way. The reason why I'm saying all this is because I'm trying to put out a new way of thinking, that the best way to attract new choir members is to invest in the existing ones. The biggest mistake I see is choir directors always search for new choir members, or even worse, for the performances they invite random singers that sing well to help out the choir during the performance. So for example, they have their choir members, regular choir members, every rehearsal preparing for the performance, working their bottoms off to handle that performance. And then they come to the performance and see their choir director has invited helpers, which are not actual choir members, but are people who sing way better than them. Okay, so the performance was better than it could have been. But what does that say to your existing choir members? That their time is not appreciated, that their choir director doesn't believe in them, and that their choir director doesn't want to invest time in their development. If you have only 5 choir singers and you keep saying, I need more, I need more, that is true, you need more. But if you don't invest your time and energy in those 5 singers, you will not have those 5 singers anymore. You need a strong base, because when all the new choir singers come to the choir, they need to see that they have come to a good place. They don't want to feel replaceable. Not new choir members, not old choir members. The biggest thing about amateur choir singers is the feeling that they're wasting their time. When you have a strong base, because it's all about that base, right? The worst part of this joke, it's not the first time I've said it here. When you have a good base, you will get the perfect ambassadors for joining the choir. You can put out all the flyers, all the auditions, all the, I don't know, marketing stuff. But from my experience, people who have joined the choir have joined not during the audition, but they have a friend who already sings in the choir, and every time they have a cup of coffee, that person, that singer, talks about how happy he or she is in the choir and how cool it is, and they had a performance and it was a great one. They are singing great songs. They are very tired when they come to the rehearsal out of the whole, because they had a whole day. But when they're at the rehearsal, they get better and they feel better and more energized and happier. And when they leave the rehearsal, they're better people. So every time that friend is listening to these stories, because happy choir members tend to talk about their choir because it's a huge community. When they start hearing about that, and the fact that they evoke certain kind of memories. Oh, I've always wanted to sing. I never had the time. But their friend who is already in a choir and who is in a similar position in life as them is setting the example of everything is possible. You can find the time to join the choir and to finally sing. Maybe you're a good singer. Maybe you will never know if you never joined the choir. And if you want to join any choir, why not start with the one I'm already in? You know from first hand, it's a good choir because you see me and I'm happy. That is what your ambassador is going to say to their friend. So if you have 10 singers in your choir and 8 of them are very happy, 8 of them have at least 2 friends. It's a butterfly effect. The biggest point of this video is you cannot get new choir members, and especially you cannot keep them if your core choir members are not there. You as a choir director have to be aware that people in your choir are people who take their time to come to the rehearsal and come to the performances. And if your core choir, the singers you already have, are happy and want to be there, they will attract other people better than any audition, flyer, any set audition could bring. Okay, so that's it. I really hope you liked the video. If you liked it, you can like it by liking it under the video or pressing the thumbs up button. If you wish to see more from Enquire to Choir, you can check out all the other videos here. And if you wish to see more in the future, you can subscribe. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!